Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Listen, I wanted to come back under here because I'm hearing some interesting rumbles. Apparently, the government has filed a motion under seal and they're asking the judge to have a juror removed. Now, I'm not sure if this is the same juror that the judge had been, not the juror, but you remember last week when the judge had been admonishing Sean Combs about nodding his head to the jury and clapping or whatever it is that he was doing out there at the jury, and there were juries that were responsive to him. I'm wondering if that's the same juror, but apparently the prosecution has filed a motion under seal to ask the judge to remove a juror. Now, the defense, I'm not sure if they're going to be fighting this or not. However, this is an interesting turn of events. Interesting turn of events, because we all know that the government wants to win this case, and I'm not saying that they are trying to do it dirty or not. However, I guess I am not seeing where it would rise to the occasion to have a juror removed unless they can show that this juror has been contacting the public, talking with the public, or some other stuff, talking about the case or anything like that. But because the juror was nodding or doing something like that, I don't know if it rises to that level. So the fact that the prosecution is really looking at the fact and looking at the jury and seeing if there are people who they can whittle off outside the case as the case is progressing is quite interesting, because again, we've already had two motions by the defense to have a mistrial. I don't, this is starting to feel like, though the prosecution is presenting a lot of evidence, that they're also doing the things that they can, as far as legally in their pocket, to be able to, behind the scenes, to be able to possibly win this case. Now, I don't know if this motion is going to come to pass or not. I know that the press has been really itching for all of these motions and things like that to be made public and put on the docket. Right now, we're not sure exactly, or even if this is all in the motion, but it is something that is being considered. Now, if this is the case, then if you look at the defense with the prosecution wanting to have a juror removed, that's pretty much signaling to the defense that, hey, they might not be believing in their case as they did, as they the prosecution may not be believing in their case as they did when they walked in, because again, they walked in and they had the bells and whistles with Cassie. People were anticipating, wanting to know what the freak offs were and all of this other stuff. But this does show the defense that they are actually whittling away at different things. So this seems a whole lot for the government. We shall see. We shall see. Because, think about it. You only need one juror for it to be a hung jury. And so if the government sees already that there's a jury that is possibly catering to the defense, that may be a problem. Now, please understand that they also have 6 alternates just in case, like if a juror had to drop for whatever reason, there's still other folks there. But I don't know. We will see in the forthcoming of this week to see whether or not the judge is going to review that motion and then make it public. But y'all, I'm hearing that there's little rumblings. Rumble, 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 rumble. That the prosecution wants to remove a juror. Interesting. Now, also, again, I talked about that the in my last recap video, that the defense's motion for a mistrial has been denied. Also, we've also found out that the prosecution's motion to have the expert witness that testified the first time will not be allowed to come back. And let me figure out what her name is real quick, because there's so many folks, child. Dawn Hughes. I knew it was Dawn, but I couldn't figure out what her last name was. But they're not going to get a second bite to her, which seems fair, because any question about a witness, any question about the all those things from the expert witness, you knew that you were going to have Mia testify and Jane testify. You should have definitely asked these types of questions. Girlfriend, you should have asked questions about the girlfriend boyfriend angle. All of these are different things. I think that those questions should have been asked so that you can be able to establish your case. Now, I don't know, will they be allowed to ask for another expert to come on? Not sure, but if that expert is just going to mimic what Dr. Don Hughes is saying, I don't think that it's going to be, I don't think that they're going to be able to get another bite at that apple, so to speak. All right, people, I just wanted to come back on and talk about those. Uh, my impressions of June 10th, 2025. I think that the defense is doing a very decent job showing that the coercion and the fraud and all those things possibly might be a stretch for the prosecution, but we will see. She's going to be back on the stands on June 11th, and we will definitely do a recap on that. All right, people, we do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video if you care. Y'all, the prosecution may be asking for a juror to be removed. Child, a mess. All right, people. Please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you cannot stand that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people, bye-bye. Just too much. Just too much. This is too much. How about you? How are you all doing? I am almost about sick of this trial. I guess because we've gotten into that stage of the trial being so, I don't want to say boring, but just kind of like stagnant or whatever. And again, there's just nothing, there's no big movement. We just feel stuck. There's just like, we feel stuck. We're getting pretty much the same type of information from Jane, from Mia, from Bonna, from Cassie. We're just pretty much getting the same information, and I think a lot of us are just like, let's move on. I need to hear financial information. That's the thing that I'm looking forward to hearing. All right, people.